Today on the Premiership Perusal podcast, Arsenal with a massive 3-2 victory over Liverpool. We will cover everything from that match. City and Chelsea keep on rolling. United and Tottenham grind out a few results away. We cover all that was from Matchweek 10. Everything from 3 home comebacks to the game that set football back 100 years. This is the Premiership Perusal podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. And the ball in behind Damian Bunny! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
You want to take a guess as to what I was hinting at when I said the game that set football back 100 years?
I think there could be a few this week, honestly.
Yeah, there's one in particular that...
I know you're talking about the game that was on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was brutal. But let's get to an actual half-decent game.
I don't know. I felt like this one was right.
I thought it was good because I love a nice Bournemouth grind.
This one was a grind.
Bournemouth grinded this one, and I liked it. To the lineups: Neto, Ryan Fredericks, Mepham, Smith. I might just call him Sinise. He's Gary.
I think it's Sinesi.
Yeah, but I like Sinise as if he's Gary Sinise, like Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Gary Sinise. What else was he in? NCIS or some CBS kind of show. Anyways,
We've gone off the rails
Gary
already.
Sinise. Lewis Cook, Jeff Lerma, Jeff, the Colombian Jeff, Ryan Christie, Marcus Tavernier, Dom Solanke, Phil Billing. For Leicester City, Danny Ward, James Justin, Wout Voss, Johnny Evans, Castagna, Barnes, Tielemans, Madison, Dewsbury Hall, Sumare, Daka.
No Ndidi went off injured last match at halftime. That's a big disappointment.
Is it?
I think it's a disappointment because you have to play Sumare, who's
worse. But
he's one of the worst players I've ever seen.
Let's get right to the game.
Literally horrendous.
Bournemouth active early. But I tell you what, Leicester, good job of slowing the game down. They didn't want it to get out of hand, so they slowed it down.
Got to keep the tempo down on Bournemouth.
Yeah, exactly. They slowed it down. Kind of were really going long for some reason. I mean, I get trying to break Bournemouth's lines, but but Leicester get the first goal, a little deflection, and ricochet falls right for Patson. Daka slots it in, 1-0.
Yep.
I didn't know if you had anything. I didn't know if you had anything to add to that.
No,
kind of just
really.
more back and forth after the goal, but then the next big chance, and really the only other chance of the half, was Daka kind of got stuffed by Neto in close. Other than that, Bournemouth probably had one or two chances, but they were half chances.
It was pretty barren in terms of chance creation.
Yes. Second half, a little better. It goes in halftime 1-0. Leicester, second half. Early on, more of the same, but as the half went on, Bournemouth definitely looked the better side, got a lot more attacking chances, able to turn Leicester over further up the pitch. I would say a lot of this game early on was their teams couldn't really enter that final third as easy as they would have liked to. In the second half, Leicester could barely get the ball over midfield.
Yeah, I thought it was similar to that game, the first game of the season, where Leicester just fell apart in the second half.
Well, they can't sit on a lead because they don't really have a defense.
Yeah, I mean,
Wout Faes looked pretty good this game. Other than that, especially Leicester's wide defense is like ass.
Yeah.
Just straight up terrible.
James Justin, I'm like,
it's like people want it to happen,
he's
and it's
terrible.
not. Yeah,
He's constantly pushed way too far up.
he's like a really, really crap Reece James. Like
And
people
then-
want that to happen, and it's just not gonna happen.
And he just gives away the ball so much.
Yeah. Bournemouth grab one, turn Leicester over in midfield, and a little mini counterattack ends in a Phil Billing rip. I told you coming in this year, I love me some Phil Billing for this team.
He's on fire.
He is on fire. He's scoring a lot more than I thought he would. I thought he'd be a nice split of goals and assists contribution, but
Yeah.
he's like, hey, I'm going to be scoring goals out here.
Whatever works, man.
Bournemouth complete the comeback after Leicester cannot hold the ball or clear the ball for a good 20 to 30 second interval. Just could not get it out of their box.
Yeah, the defense was shocking, to say the least. I mean, Leicester, just in general, giving up way too much space, pressure. They were conceding a lot of corners, throw-ins.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just asking for the goals to come, especially with given how poor they are at set pieces. And
Nice little cross in. Kiefer Moore headed pass down for Christie, who shoots it. Slow little roller. Unfortunately for Leicester, Danny Ward was jumping in the air
he
at the ball.
pre-jumped.
Yeah, that was brutal. Finishes 2-1. Bournemouth. They grind it out. I enjoyed it.
It sure
Just
wasn't
because it's
the prettiest
Bournemouth.
of games.
If it was like Leicester and Wolves grinded out the victory, I would be like, okay, that game sucked. But it's something about Bournemouth.
Yeah, I thought even though they won, I thought Bournemouth didn't really have that spark that we've seen kind of in the past few weeks where they'll get the ball and break quickly and they look kind of dangerous on the counter and just moving the ball fast.
No, this was more of a grind. They got it down there, and they're like, it's like a American football thing where it's like you're on the 1 yard line and you're just trying to pound it in.
Yeah.
Real smash mouth. It was not pretty, but that's what Bournemouth needs to do sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, to get 3 points.
Super disappointing from Leicester perspective, coming off a huge win where you thought maybe you can start building some momentum, but then you lose to Bournemouth.
You just realize that you're a little better than Nottingham Forest, which isn't saying much.
Yeah, like I said, they're not the 20th worst team, but they may be the 19th.
Like I said, they're in a relegation scrap. This team stinks. Moving on.
Just the lack of midfield is
It's
bad.
It's one thing like if you just had a midfield that was like either decently well rounded at stuff and had like one kind of major hole as far as like carrying the ball or something like that, but they don't excel at anything. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
To the next game, speaking of how I just referenced Chelsea, Wolves, we have Kepa, Chalobah, Koulibaly, Dave, Cucurella, Jorginho, Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek, Mount, Gallagher, Havertz. For Wolves, Sa, Johnny, Semedo, Kilman, Totti, Podence, Guedes, Nunes, Montinho, Traore, Diego Costa. I should say Mateus, not Nunes, because for whatever reason they specified that during the game. Did you hear that?
Yes.
It's like, okay.
Actually, I think it's the second time they've specified it. So he must really want to be known as Mateus.
Okay, Mateus.
Chelsea, Graham Potter rewarding the subs that came on in the match against Crystal Palace, rewarding them with a start. Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek,
little
Gallagher.
rotation now that they have the Champions League to kind of focus on back-to-back weeks playing Milan. So a little rotation out of the squad.
And to be fair, you're playing Wolves, who's like not even a team right
If there's
now.
ever time to get a rotation, it's right now. First half, Chelsea, quite dominant, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say so. They just didn't really have like the final pass, the final shot.
Yeah.
To get the goal, but overall they were dominating possession. Wolves really struggled in any form of possession.
They literally couldn't pass the ball forward. It just wasn't even possible.
Yeah. I mean, let alone the fact that they can't score. Now they
Can't even pass.
can't even pass the ball. Chelsea had some chances early. Gallagher had a shot that went wide. Jorginho low shot saved by Saw as Chelsea started to ramp up the pressure kind of after 15 minutes or so. Moutinho had a free kick saved, but again, Wolves just giving away the ball in their own half, making it easy for Chelsea to keep that pressure on.
Yeah.
Pulisic had like 9,000 chances in this game.
I mean, yeah, it was chances galore for Chelsea. I mean, it was just, I thought the passing was perfectly fine. Maybe like once or twice the passing wasn't great, but it's mainly like the lack of decision-making / just ability to finish was really poor is the main stuff.
Wolves actually had a chance before halftime, Mateus, but header was wide.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's Chelsea, this heavily rotated squad, which hadn't started that much, it shouldn't have been dominating as much as they were.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you where Wolves are.
Yeah, and then this is classic Chelsea style. Just before halftime, get the goal, Mount crossing to Havertz at the back post, floating header.
Yeah, I was surprised that that's the chance that goes in for Chelsea. They had like at least 3 to 4 chances that were better than that. It was more just Saw was like kind of caught out because he was going to catch it or punch it, and then he didn't get there, and it just like trickles in the net.
Goes in halftime, 1-0. Second half, pretty much more of the same. More chances created for Chelsea. 54th minute, Pulisic finally
He
capitalized.
actually scored.
Yeah.
He actually did it.
It was like his 5th chance of the
Yeah.
game. It was a nice finish, too. Nice 1-2 with Mason Mount. And right before the end of the game, Broja subbed in, gets his first goal in the senior team for Chelsea. Cutting inside with a nice finish.
You didn't even mention the best part about this entire game. Wolves down 2-0, and Diego Costa just takes a victory lap around the field. He takes a lap around the field. No one caring about the game because they know nothing's going to happen. Everyone just stands up and applauds Diego Costa for like 2 straight minutes.
Right.
Chanting his name.
I think my favorite part about that was that, like, after the game, he was talking about, he, like, threw shade on Conte.
Lol.
You know, that
I didn't see what he said.
The reason he left was because of Conte.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all knew that already, but,
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I don't remember the exact quote, but
he wanted to replace him, and he replaced him with Alvaro Morata. Tough scenes.
Tough scenes.
Anyways, Chelsea win 3-0. Not much to take away from Wolves since they don't have a manager, and they're just kind of throwing their best, air quotes, best lineup out there.
Yeah.
For Chelsea, nice to see that, Potter doing his pragmatic things in terms of switching up systems constantly, rotating the lineups, getting a win. Good to see. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, overall, they're doing what they need to do. I mean, they're not playing like the best that they could, but I mean, you won 3-0, so it doesn't really matter.
No.
And you played a rotated squad, so.
Yeah. You're not going to score every Christian Pulisic chance. It's just not going to happen. You're lucky to get 1 out of 5.
On to the third match of the week, Manchester City versus Southampton at the Etihad.
Oh, my gosh.
So the lineups, Ederson, Diaz, Ake, Cancelo, Akanji, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Mahrez, Foden, Haaland. For Southampton, Bazunu, Walker-Peters, Perot, Salisu, bottle of ketchup, Bella Kotchap, Joe Aribo, Ward-Prowse, Stu Armstrong, Diallo, Adam Armstrong, and Che Adams. Going for the Adam link up front.
Yeah. The Adam Adams.
And I just want to say, last week I was saying this is either going to be 9-0 City
Yeah.
or 2-1 Southampton.
Yeah, and you were wrong.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was 9-0, 4-0.
Something like that.
Same thing.
Yeah, you could tell it would be a long day for Southampton right off the bat once they forced Bazunu into a save from that Mahrez shot. You just knew it's like, oh man, Southampton's going to get creamed here.
Yeah, I thought that was funny that Mahrez started and he was looking good after we were like,
They
he's
don't
lost
need
his
him.
place in the team.
Yeah.
Of
Well,
course, Pep, he loves the rotation.
Yes. Yes, he had another chance, but it went off net.
Yeah,
Hit
he kind of had the
sailing.
Pulisic game going where he just had a bunch of chances that he missed.
He gets one eventually, but Man City catch Southampton out on a break, hit quick, and Erling Haaland hits the inside of the post, goes across the goal line, but not in. That was wild.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like he was already celebrating. He was.
I mean, I thought it would have been it. Hitting that near inside of the post for it to go straight across the goal line, and
I think physics have changed.
they put something in the ball. They put some lead in the ball, and it's
There's some
messing
sort of
with it.
magnetic force or something.
Yeah.
Hits off the post, and then when you put the magnets together on the wrong sides and they
Yeah.
push off, there's got to be something like that
I
going on.
think it is. I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
But Man City get their first goal. A just absolutely dirty run by Mr. Cancelo. Foden with the laugh at midfield, and Cancelo runs all the way. Gives him what Sam would call the sauce.
Oh.
Gives the sauce.
Can we just press F to pay respects to James Ward-Prowse?
Yeah.
Put on skates.
Yeah. Diced up. Finished 1-0. At this point, you knew it was over if you didn't already know it was over. Southampton turnover and then a transition run by De Bruyne, who finds Phil Foden for a nice little chip for 2-0.
Yeah, that was a nice chip. I mean, Southampton, they've had this issue where they give away the ball so
Yes.
much, and
You can't do that to City.
you can't do that against City.
City loves nothing more than counterattacking because they're like, when are we ever going to be able to do this? Like 3 times a year.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it seems like that's when they've looked their most dangerous is
Yeah.
winning the ball back quick.
I mean, you have such insane speed, and you have guys who are able to spread the ball like Cancelo and Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? 2-0 at half. Second half, the wide defense for Southampton was non-existent as Rodri finds Mahrez wide open on the right side, kind of far post, semi-far post for an open volley.
Kyle Walker-Peters had a rough game.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That was
We don't
hard to
like
watch.
to see it. We don't like to see that. We don't like to see any of this. I'm just glad Southampton said if they got smoked, they'd sack Hans, and they did. I don't know what they meant by like losing by a bunch.
4-0 was to plan.
Yes.
That's how they prepared for it.
Yeah. And then Cancelo, a little cutback pass for Haaland to make it 4-0. Couple chances in between towards the end. But it just City dominance.
Yeah, overall, I think City, they never really had to get out of first gear in this game. It was pretty easy. Southampton continuously gave away the ball, and their defense was pretty bad. I don't know why they even try playing with 2 strikers when neither of them are getting the ball at all. You might as well throw in another midfielder.
Yeah, just plug it up.
Overall, very disappointing for Southampton, but not too
Expected.
surprising.
This week was kind of just chalk,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so, for the most part.
So
City roll on.
they're unstoppable, except when Haaland has to play Bournemouth, and
That's true.
yeah. Moving on. This game, it went chalk, but a little more extreme than we would have thought.
Yeah. Newcastle versus Brentford. Newcastle's kind of hot.
Oh, you're telling me. You're telling me at the wrong time for United, but we'll get to that later. Lineups: Pope, Trippier, Butman, Cher, Byrne, Willock, Longstaff, Guimaraes, Wilson, Murphy, Almiron. How about that front 3 right now?
They're rocking, man.
Yeah.
I mean, not the most...
That might be one of, if not the biggest surprises of the year so far, how
Yeah.
well Almiron is.
yeah, really.
Where's the most improved player award? We should be doing that. We should be doing that
Add it
as
to
a
the
hanky.
hanky
Yeah.
list.
Brentford, Raya, Pinnock, me, Ayer, Hickey, Henry, Jensen, De Silva, Baptiste, Tony, and Blemo. I'm surprised that Ben Mee plays as much as he does for Brentford, aren't you? But
Yeah, I think
it feels like they constantly have a center back out, but still.
right. This one was Jansen was hurt, but yeah, I didn't expect him to play as much as he has been. Yeah, Newcastle got this one going early. Of course, they came with the high energy really fast, 6 minutes in. Great attempt for Almiron. Fantastic save from David Raya. And then 10th minute in, and Bumo, against the run of play, scores, but ruled offside for Ivan Toney's involvement in the play. I thought this was a bit of a curious one.
Yeah, it's strange.
Because it seems like the enforcement of this rule is like a complete coin flip.
Yeah. I mean, that's how all of our decisions are lately.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like you talk about clear and obvious and how that makes like the decision.
Yeah.
But it feels like there is never a clear and obvious call, and they just end up reversing it way more often than they should.
Right. Because I feel like if we go based on the way they've been calling this, it shouldn't have been ruled offside. But if you think about it logically, like he is involved in the play.
Yep.
You know, just like that one Bournemouth versus Liverpool, the own goal. It's like the reason he had to make that sliding tackle was because there was a guy behind him. So I mean, that guy is involved in the play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're just standing there, then you're not involved. But of course, you know, Premier League refereeing. But
Yes.
I digress. Newcastle open up the scoring. Bruno G, back post header. Perfect ball from Trippier from a well-worked corner.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle in this first half were just able to really pin Brentford in about 10 minutes in and there on out. Just kept winning possession in midfield on those second and third balls and able to hold possession off of that and build. And I noticed Brentford, when they don't have possession, they just long ball, like instant long ball.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, they were really outclassed in midfield today.
Yeah.
Not today, but, you know.
No,
on
it
the
was
day.
today. The game happened today.
The day was, yes. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, the blonde bombshell, though. 1-0
Yeah.
for Bruno. Great set piece.
Trippier's
That header.
balls into the box are just superb.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean,
Top class.
he is world class at set pieces.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the new James Ward-Prowse, except for Player of the Year.
Except that he's just better in like all aspects. I'd say you're on skates, but Cancelo already put you there.
Oh, bruh.
7 minutes later, a terrible giveaway from David Raya leads to an easy second for Newcastle as Wilson plays the ball across to Murphy, who taps it in. Little uncharacteristic from Raya, who's normally quite good, but this one was a shocker.
They dumped all over themselves on that one. Just a big sloppy dookie.
Yeah.
Leading to that empty net goal. Even before that goal, Brentford turned over Newcastle. They had a chance, and they made Pope make some saves and stuff this game, but it just wasn't going to be their day.
Yeah. It sure felt like that. Goes into halftime 2-0. Second half, Brentford forced a save out of Pope, and then a penalty is given for a handball on Dan Burn.
Yeah, what is that? Ridiculous. Can't call against Dan Burn. Do you know who this man is? He's Dan Burn.
He's Dan Burn. Ivan Toney steps up, converts the penalty, but Newcastle have the immediate response.
So is Ivan Toney in the World Cup squad solely for his pen-taking ability?
Ooh,
Yes or no?
interesting. I mean, when you look at like the depth chart, it's like Harry Kane, and then next striker's probably
Harry Maguire.
Well, if we're talking about penalties, yes.
Yeah.
Just in general, I think he's the second best. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, no. Who else? Pat Bamford? I don't know. Callum Wilson,
I don't know if he's it's hard to tell because it's like you look at a guy and you're like, you just have to make a guess. Like, is he a Southgate guy?
yeah.
Tony, I guess, makes more sense as a Southgate guy, but I guess Raz is there. He's not, I don't know. He's out there, but he's like a second striker,
He
false
plays
nine, kind
more
of winger.
Yeah.
But
I think Tony will be in the squad.
What about Eddie Nketiah?
Didn't look so hot today against Bodo/Glimt.
Who can beat Bodos and Glimt at the same time?
Yeah,
That's two
it's
teams.
Unfair. Anyways, back to the game. 2 minutes later, Bruno G answers quickly with a fantastic shot from distance that finds the bottom corner of the goal. And then Newcastle almost catch Brentford off guard with the set piece, but Wilson's attempt goes wide. Newcastle then add a fourth in the 82nd minute after a terrible mistake from Ethan Pinnock, and Almiron pounces at the chance.
Yeah, rough Pinnock game.
And it goes from bad to worse for
Yeah.
Ethan Pinnock with an own goal in the 90th minute to make it 5-1. A rough return.
Disaster class.
It was a disaster class. A Ben Gibson trademark disaster class.
Yeah, 5-1. I mean, you mentioned it about Newcastle's midfield in this game. It wasn't just Bruno. Everyone, Longstaff is looking really well this year, and Willock, obviously, know what he can do.
Yeah.
They just have so many options. They have so much depth. They didn't even. There was a little time they were struggling. They didn't have St. Maximin. Now they can get it going without him. It's like, oh
Yeah. Almiron steps up.
yeah. Murphy's serviceable.
Yeah, I was thinking about Newcastle.
Isak's not even in there.
Yeah. I was thinking about Newcastle and just how
Not even Carl Darlow's in there. They don't need him.
they brought in a few higher level guys like Trippier and Pope and Bruno G.
Dan Burn.
Somewhat Dan Burn.
Chris Wood, for sure.
And then you have guys who were already in the squad who have elevated their game. And it just seems like, everyone in the squad
Yeah.
is elevating their game to be at that higher level.
Yeah. They're almost all near Ryan Fraser's level at this point. But
They're
not
all
quite.
scrappy doing it.
Get on a t-shirt. To the last match of Saturday. Brighton and Tottenham.
Yeah, Brentford.
This was a
going
boring
through
game.
a rough patch there.
Boring game.
Yes, Brighton versus Tottenham.
Sanchez, Webster, Dunk, Feltman, March, McAllister, Caicedo, Estupinian, Trossard, Gross, Welbeck for Tottenham. Lloris, Dyer, Romero, Davies, Doherty, Højbjerg, Sessegnon, Betancourt, Bissouma on the return, Son, and Kane. So just the two kind of attackers.
I think we should, before we get into this match, a special shout out to
Mwepu.
Mwepu sadly having to end his career.
So I tweeted out, he's like, I'm not going to stop until I can anymore, or something like that. The passion out of that man.
The passion.
I hope it all works out for him. He's a great player to watch. And I
Yeah.
mean, he's so young, 24. Sucks to have it taken away. So hope everything works out for him, but gonna miss him on Brighton because it sounds like it's not gonna work out.
Yeah, I'm going to
There for
miss
him.
him absolutely torching Arsenal.
Just running around like a madman.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Best wishes to Enoch Mwepu. Into the
To the
game.
game.
Tottenham doing Tottenham things, looking somewhat dangerous on the counterattack. Early, a lot going through Doherty, getting into space.
After Conte gave that soundbite about him about a week and a half ago, where someone asked why Doherty wasn't playing in the Champions League, and he says, I'm not trying to lose. I know what players to play.
But, ouch.
Yeah.
Well, Doherty, when it came time to prove himself, really failed hard when he got into space. And it was just...
Yeah, I mean,
It was
they were creating threats, but pretty tame play early on. I mean, there
Yeah.
wasn't much that it came out of, but then they couldn't really do much with it either way. But truly nothing really impressive about either side early on. And then Tottenham with their amazing luck, their wizardry.
Yeah, that was
Get a goal.
ridiculous. Just Kane ducking down, deflecting Son's pass, cross shot.
Yeah, the Shaw's kind of.
Yeah.
Tottenham used the power of the shots to get a goal.
They did for evil. Brighton did well after the goal to get back into the game.
Yeah, that 30 to 45 minute stretch, they really kind of turned it on.
Yeah. They were just really lacking in kind of that final finish, the quality in the final third, being able to pull the shot off and score.
Yeah, and I thought a couple chances they had, Lloris did a good enough job just to off-put them just enough.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like their defense was bend, don't break, and Lloris did a good job making sure that they're able to hold on to the clean sheet. Going into half, 1-0. Second half, Tottenham sitting in. What else is new? Trying to absorb the pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot of Brighton possession, but fairly tame. I mean, they had some really nice build-ups, but then it just came to that final finish. They couldn't get it.
You know, two guys really stood out in this game. Your guy, Mitoma.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
And Caicedo. Both played well.
Yeah.
Other than that, there wasn't much going on.
Yeah, I thought Estupiñán was pretty poor.
Estupide.
I feel like Danny Welbeck could have done better.
Yeah, he's not in form because I'm not backing him as much as I did last year.
Yeah. And then I think like Trossard didn't impress
No, it was definitely
me.
an off game for him.
Yeah. He found out that he got placed into my fantasy Premier League lineup, and he's like, all right, I'm done.
Yes. Yeah, Welbeck had a couple good chances this game. One in the first half they dragged wide. Second half he had an even better one they dragged wide.
Yeah.
Sanchez almost setting up McAllister to give away the ball for an easy tap in off a Højbjerg tackle. That was wild.
Classic Bobby Sanchez.
Yeah, and he plays it off. Yep. We're good. No worries. No worries at all. But yeah, Brighton really just couldn't break Tottenham's defense. Didn't really have great chances to end the game and kind of just wrapped up 1-0.
Yeah, Tottenham succeed again in their anti-football methods. And, I mean, it's just horrendous to watch. I know Tottenham fans try and cope, but it's awful. You call yourself a top team, but...
At least when Conte was at Chelsea, it was, entertaining, and they were moving fast, and you had Hazard, and he was getting stuff out of guys like Marcos Alonso and stuff. This is just, this is a disgrace.
This is anti-football.
This is, anti-football, yes.
It's just tough. I mean, Brighton overall, they've had these issues in the past where they hold the ball well, but then when it comes to taking the shot,
yeah.
So
it's not Graham Potter's fault?
Well, early days. I mean, I think given the personnel, they're more set up to hold possession than to score.
I was gonna say I kind of hope that Brighton goes down a bit in terms of quality. So then we do get to see the adjustments that De Gerbi makes.
Okay.
Just so I can see what
he can
he's
put
made
his
out
stamp
of.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm openly cheering against Brighton, but I think it would be kind of, I wouldn't hate it if they kind of went through a little cold spell and then we got to see what De Gerbi could do with them.
Yeah.
Moving on.
To
Sunday.
To Sunday.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Much better matches on Sunday.
My team. Look at Patrick Vieira. Palace, Leeds. The lineup, Sam.
For Palace, Guaita, Ward, Gehi, Schlupp, Anderson, Olise, Eze, Ducore, Ayu, Zaha, Edouard. For Leeds, Meslier, Koch, Cooper, Struijk, Christensen, Aronson, Roca, Harrison, Adams, and Rodrigo and Pat Bamford up top. Almost missed out on Pat Bamford.
I thought you were going to say they only play with 10 men.
I was surprised to see Pat Bamford in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Leeds started well this one.
Yeah, they sure did.
That great run by Brendan Aronson. Shot off the post, quite unlucky, but right to Struijk for the rebound.
Yeah, great.
1-0.
Great start for Leeds. Palace looking shaky at the back.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds kind of just had it taken to them early on. The energy and the pressing was definitely working, to say the least.
Pat Bamford had a snapshot, but it was right at Guaita. And then in the 24th minute, Palace draw level from the set piece. Great ball from Elise. That was kind of against the run of play. They won the set piece and capitalized on it.
Yeah, no, Leeds for the first 20, 25 minutes were dominating. And that Bamford chance, they had amazing build-up play on that. But it was a big save by Guaita, kind of a turning point. If that goes 2-0, it's going to be pretty tough to come back from that.
Yeah.
But Palace, really out of nothing. Edward, off the set piece from Elise, equalizes 1-1.
I was impressed how Leeds were limiting Zaha. He was really not a factor in the first half at all.
Yeah, I mean, tough stretch for Wilf. I feel like he's not even playing that bad. They're getting him on the ball, but it's last
he
week.
Was getting double teamed.
Last week it was James, and Reece James is one of the best players in the Premier League. And then this week, Christensen was able to handle him for the most part. But you're right. I mean, they had Koch and guys stepping up to get on him. This is probably the best game I've ever seen Robin Koch play. And that's not saying much, but he did play pretty well. Leeds' quick passing been so good, and Palace kind of put into a bend-don't-break situation in that first half, but goes in 1-1 at halftime. Yeah,
if there's anything you could criticize Leeds, you'd say that they've kind of lacked quality in the final third in this game.
Yeah.
Could have been up 2-1, 2-0.
For sure. Second half, Palace come out looking the better side, creating way more chances, and definitely in a variety of ways. Their ability to kind of play side to side was a whole lot better in this half. They were able to stretch Leeds a bit, but really not able to create that space for the final shot until nice long ball, little link up between Etse and Wilf. Etse walking it along, some fake shots, and they slots it for the 2-1 lead.
Absolutely beautiful goal.
Yeah, it was a nice
well-worked
finish.
Team goal. Crystal Palace, Vieira coming out second half, changing up the system a little more 4-4-2-ish.
Yeah, definitely packed the midfield more.
Yep.
Definitely willing to kind of hold on to the ball enough to where Leeds were fouling a good amount, and that was able to slow the game down. Able to slow it down, get Leeds out of their rhythm, allows you to kind of possess the ball, play the game at your speed. I thought that Palace did a good job at that.
Yeah, I felt like Palace weren't forcing it as much as in the first half. In the first half, it just kept feeling like they were trying to force it into Zaha, and he just get, double teamed.
Yeah, especially forcing it to him in areas that you wouldn't even want to force it into. If it's one thing if you're forcing the ball into Wilf and he's in the box, around the box.
Yeah,
this was more just at midfield. They're passing it to him, and it's well, I don't know what he's gonna do. He can't run forward.
Right,
he's
back
gonna have
to goal.
play it. Yeah, he's gonna have to play it back.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Not where you want Zaha to be. But yeah, they looked so much better in the second half.
Absolutely. Finishes 2-1.
2-1. My hot take on Leeds.
Yeah.
Their second half of games is just terrible. They just drop off so hard.
They're a one-half team.
Whatever happens in the dressing room at halftime, they fall off so hard. I don't know if it's just that they exert too much energy in the first half and then they come out a little tired in the second half, or if it was just purely down to Vieira. His tactical changes really made the difference. But
I think it's a mix of both. But yeah, Leeds definitely do drop off a bit, and that's what happens when you require so much out of your guys.
Yeah, because I feel like in the first half, Aronson was, active, and in the second half, he wasn't really part of the game that much until he got subbed off.
Part of that too is just not playing the game at your speed. Palace kind of took him out of that, not able to let Leeds get on the ball.
Yeah,
nearly as much. So.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said, too, about when it goes into halftime 1-1 after you feel like you've been the better side.
Yeah, a little demoralizing.
Yeah. So a good win for Palace. They've had a tough schedule to start the season, but this is a game you would say they should win.
Yep.
And they won it.
Yes.
So good 3 points for them. Leeds, a little lackluster up front, and in the second half.
Kind of cost them.
Energy level was far too low.
Yeah, and you can't rely too much on your defense if you're Leeds.
Yeah.
Simple as. You just got to make sure that you have the ball somewhat, or that it's a high, fast-paced game, so you're putting pressure on the other team.
Yep.
Speaking of putting pressure on, I don't know what that has to do with this game. It doesn't really.
Speaking of putting pressure on,
West Ham's putting pressure on Fulham to catch him in the table.
West Ham versus Fulham. To the lineups. Fabianski, Cresswell, Kurt the Cat Kicker, Zuma, Dawson, Kerr, Fornals, Paqueta, Bowen, Suchek, Rice. For Fulham, Leno.
Wait, who is up top?
Gianluca Scamacca. I don't know why I keep missing.
You're not
forwards.
scrolling.
I'm not scrolling. Burn Leno, Tosin, Adarabioyo, Tim Ream, Bobby De Cordova Reed, Robinson, Harry Reid, Cabano, Pereira, Dan James, Paulinho back in the lineup, and Carlos, Tottenham Hotspur legend Vinicius.
How about that?
Up front.
I forgot he existed on Tottenham.
No Mitrovic.
No Mitrovic, no problem early on, right?
Yeah, they got off to a fast start 5 minutes in, even after West Ham started well with possession, but Fulham hit quick on the counterattack. Cabano, this man is like so good on the counter. He's so fast, and
Yeah.
he just pushes the tempo. He finds Pereira, and he blasts it past Fabianski despite the tight angle.
I felt like Fabianski could have done a bit better, but I really feel like Zuma should have done better at closing off Pereira.
Yeah, he just kind of allowed him so much space.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, you can have the near post. What?
Did not like that. Did not like that one bit. But Fulham kept up the pressure.
Yeah, Pereira, free kick from the side of the box, kind of just whips it in, forces Fabianski into the save.
Your guy, Dan James.
Dan James hits off the crossbar.
Fulham Dan James looking a whole lot more frisky than Leeds United Dan James.
I've been Dan James all the way.
He had to get me back on board. I'm getting there.
Through good times and bad, I'm Dan James. Put that on a t-shirt.
I was going to say, that should be like his autobiography.
West Ham hit back with some chances of their own. Scamacca, this was like the week of like one player having a ton of chances.
Yeah.
Scamacca has a close range header saved beautifully by Bernleno. Very quick to get down.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had the Danny Welbeck dragging the shot wide.
The Danny drag.
And then he had another great headed attempt, but straight at Bernleno from close range. And Gerrard Bowen can't score from the follow-up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. It was like West Ham broke through one time, and then that was like the game. Yeah. Fulham's like, well, now we can't do anything ever again.
We've done all we could. Then we get into just some clown show Fulham defending.
That was amazing.
West Ham.
Pereira giveth, Pereira taketh.
West Ham have the corner kick, and it was
Dawson trying to get free for a header in the box, and Pereira had both arms just out at all times, and the ref kept stopping it, blowing and say, hey, can't do that, stop it. And he just kept doing it, and eventually a penalty was given.
Yeah, Chris Kavanagh, he warned him once, he warned him twice, and then Pereira did it again, and he's like, all right, you leave me with no choice. And he blows a penalty, and then Fulham are like, are you kidding me? But it's like, how many times? He legit told you, stop doing that.
Stop it.
But Bowen takes the penalty, scores from the spot, goes into halftime, 1-1. Rest of the half was just kind of West Ham possessing.
Yep.
Second half, another headed attempt. That goes wide for Scamacca. How can he keep missing? But finally, in the 61st minute, he scores but doesn't even celebrate.
Because he thought he was off.
Because he thought he was offside.
What a legend.
Beautiful chip.
Actually just had pure respect for Fulham. Couldn't celebrate against them.
Very strange play. And it took a long time to review.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close one.
Yeah. And there was something like in the build-up or something.
Yeah.
A foul or something debating that I didn't take a note on. But after that...
I love the way you spelled Tom Kearney's name in these notes. Go on.
I knew I was spelling it wrong, and I was like, yeah, it's good enough. Had the shot blocked nicely by Cresswell. West Ham haven't looked very good in the second half. Fulham pushing them back, but Fulham really lacking in quality.
They
in the
needed
final
Mitrovic
third.
big time in this one.
Yeah, I was
They
thinking
could have
that.
maybe
They could have
grabbed
made
a point
difference.
they could have grabbed a point if they had him.
Especially early, too.
Yep.
Could have grabbed a second goal. And then West Ham add a third after some comical defending from Tim Ream leads to Antonio scoring from his own rebound on the quick break.
Did you notice Antonio had a handball in that play? They didn't call it. It's pretty much what happened to Rashford, where he's on the break and it like bounces up and hits his arm, and they just didn't call it.
And to me, I feel like it shouldn't be a handball because he doesn't
Yeah.
It's not like he controls it with his hand.
Yeah.
It just kind of came up on his arm.
To me, it's who the hell cares because this game's just going to be over anyways.
True.
So,
Anyways, ends 3-1.
3-1.
West Ham take all 3 points. Despite the scoreline, I felt like West Ham didn't play that great.
No, but it didn't feel like Fulham really could have snatched it either.
No.
But like you said, if they had Mitrovic, then it might have made enough of a difference.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of disappointing to see Fulham just drop off after the good start. But I guess what can
West Ham's midfield kind of woke up and they're like, hey, Fulham has one guy. We have like four guys.
Yeah,
So
very true.
to the big one this week, we have Arsenal-Liverpool.
Thought you were talking about Everton United.
No, we'll get to that. The lineups: Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Saliba, Tomiyasu, Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Xhaka, Scroll, Jesus, Alisson, Van Dijk, Shimikas Matip, Alexander-Arnold, Thiago, Salah, Henderson, Jota, Diaz, Darwin, Nunes.
Arsenal wasted absolutely
0.
58 seconds before scoring. Quickly through Martinelli, the quick break, Saka over to Martinelli.
If you had to power rank Arsenal's like top 3 for a hockey reference, top 3 stars of the season.
Top 3 stars of the season?
Yeah, so third star is like third most important, second star is second most, first star is most important.
Man, I would say third star.
Because I think Martinelli has to be in the top 3.
I think Martinelli maybe third star. I think William Saliba second
Okay.
star, and then I'd say Jesus first star.
Okay.
But it feels a little disrespectful to Xhaka. It's been very good.
Yeah.
I
Someone
think
can
Ben
only
White's
make. There's
been
only
really good.
3. There's only 3 spots.
Yeah, that's true.
I was just
Arsenal have a
wondering.
lot
I just
of-
want to make sure that Arsenal and Arsenal fans feel that way. As a man who has Martinelli on has had him on his fantasy team this entire year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big surprise though to see Tomiyasu.
Yeah, back in there.
I love that.
Speaking of back in there, Liverpool got back into the game right after that goal. Liverpool really have to slow things down these days. They're going Leicester mode against these teams. They're like, we can't keep up.
Yeah.
We got to slow it down. Controversy. Gabriel handball. No call.
No call.
I think it has to be called.
I mean, to me, I thought, that's a penalty. But
Yeah. I think it has to be called.
I know people were saying that there's an angle where it looks like it deflects off of him first and then
Yeah.
hits his arm, which they haven't been calling a handball.
No, I know, because it's out of his control and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it was a handball.
I think also the proximity might have played a part, but overall,
Perhaps.
it still felt like it'd be called a penalty, but
Yeah.
not
Not
today.
called. A nice balance to the game between both sides. Arsenal's midfield felt kind of poor in this one.
Yeah, they
Especially
were
first
getting cut
half.
through fairly easily,
Mm-hmm.
and Liverpool were getting back into the game, hitting on the counterattack.
Yeah, clearly as the Parwin Punez somehow scored as Arsenal were caught out on a long ball, and Louis D squared it right across for Mr. Darwin Nunez.
Yeah, I mean, it was really not too difficult.
This is
for
kind of the
Liverpool. Just
way.
long ball up.
This is kind of the way that you beat Arsenal, catching them out,
Yeah.
and you're able to counter. Which, I mean, kind of makes sense. I mean, Arteta's from the Pep school of play, and we've seen City when they're lackluster at defense. That's how they're caught out. They're caught out on the counter.
Yeah, you
They're
push
balanced.
so many guys forward.
Yeah, their balance too, as far as where the defenders are, is just not in the right spots. Arsenal counterattack well by Martinelli, bring it all the way, squares it for Saka, 2-1.
The bookends of
Right
the
before.
first half.
Yep, right before the end of the first half. So they go in halftime, 2-1. Arsenal start fast, but somehow Liverpool get the goal through Firmino, the man on fire.
Yeah, substitute Firmino after Luis Diaz got injured in the first half. Firmino just, man, in form. I knew when he got subbed on, I was like, this guy is scoring.
Yep. Arsenal
Just can't be stopped.
back to controlling. They're getting the chances. Then people complaining about this one, deem it a questionable pen given to Arsenal. Saka scores from that penalty spot, 3-2. I thought this was a pen.
I thought it was a penalty. It was on the softer side, but I still think it was a penalty.
Yeah.
Arsenal were really building up pressure.
Yeah, they were pounding him.
Yeah, I think they would have scored either way, penalty or not. I mean,
who knows?
It was coming.
Who knows? I thought it was a penalty. I don't get why people are so upset about it.
I agree.
He whacked him on the back of his leg. What do you want?
Yeah.
It's one of those, again, it's like, if you're not making a stupid play, I might side with you. But when you're just taking wild hacks at the ball to clear it, if you make contact with the guy, no matter how hard, it's hard for me to defend you.
Yeah.
Strange collision at the end where Van Dijk and I think it was Van Dijk and Alisson kind of ran together.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of goes to show you where he is quality-wise at the moment.
Yeah, just a little bit of sloppiness in that defense right now for Liverpool.
Yeah. Finishes 3-2.
Massive win for Arsenal.
Big time win. I mean, they had to keep the pressure on in Liverpool really now. I mean, Klopp admitting that they're not in the title race whatsoever. It doesn't take a genius to know that when you're hanging around 10th place, but I mean, I don't know. Liverpool definitely not on the track that they thought they were at the beginning of the year. Might have to just settle to grind for a Champions League spot.
Yeah, it's a weird time for Liverpool. Just things aren't going their way. Their play hasn't been good. Their defense has looked pretty rough.
It's the opposite of how the second half of last year went.
Mo Salah was really
Invisible.
quiet in this one.
The whole year.
Yeah, it has
The whole
been,
year.
Has been this year. You lose Louis D.
Ooh, yeah, that's brutal.
That's brutal. I mean, you're already playing with fire with the injuries. Didn't have
It's not hurt Jordan Henderson. Is there a club captain that's more like hated by his team than Henderson? Maybe McGinn now. We'll get the villains pretty soon, but
another poor game from Alexander-Arnold. He was just getting roasted.
are you sure? I thought defense, he was a strong suit. I don't even know what Liverpool fans are talking about with that guy. It's like delusion at this point.
It is delusion. They're lost in the TAA sauce.
I mean, it's at the point to where Arsenal and I guess just any opposing teams are just like memeing. They're like, yeah, no, he's the next Dele Alli. You didn't know that? He's the next Dele.
I mean, for sure he has quality going forward, but first and foremost, he's a defender,
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just goes to show you their midfield losing a step, Van Dijk clearly losing half a step. That's going to put more pressure on him to be where he has to be
Yeah.
and to do his job defensively.
Right.
and the spotlight's more on him now. And guess what? It's shining pretty bright, and everyone's seeing a big steaming pile of poop.
Yeah, when they were playing well, he's kind of a luxury player because he's not getting exposed as much, and he can get forward more without getting countered on defense. But now it's just Liverpool are really struggling. Teams are going at him. He's not able to.
Well, yeah, you're able to go at him because he doesn't have the midfield support.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just tout James Milner out there all the time.
Right.
And expect that, things are going to work out well for you. And Van Dijk and Matip and Konate, doesn't matter, anyone, the center backs, they're just not as good as they have been.
And, in terms of offense, too, they're not having sustained periods of pressure where they just
have people pinned in.
Pinning teams back where he can get wide and swing balls into the box.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yeah. Moving on to the next match. Everton versus Manchester United. To the lineups for Everton. Pickford, Tarkowski, Mikalenko, Coleman, Cody, Onana, Iwobi, Idrissa Gana Guy. Anthony Gordon, Damari Gray, Neil Maupay for United. De Gea, Lindelof, Lisandro Martinez, Diego Dalot, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro getting a start finally.
Bruno Casemiro.
Anthony Martial.
Wow. Tony Marshall. Everton, you could feel the buzz inside Goodison, and they had it going, mainly because Man U were just really slow.
They were slow.
And Everton looked up for it. Varane turnover in midfield, Everton transition, Iwobi curler, simple as, it's 1-0.
I thought it was Casemiro who gave it away. But
no, it was
roll back the tapes. Doesn't matter. It's a washed Real Madrid player. Am I right?
Oh, how dare you. I actually thought Casemiro was pretty good in this game.
He had his moments, and he had some moments that were a little questionable. But overall, I think better than bad.
Well, better than,
But it was in the 15th minute where Everton did their own giving away of the ball. Idrissa Gana Guy in the midfield giving away and springs the United counterattack, which results in a little cut inside from Anthony, who scores again.
Yeah, how the tables turn. Everton are now turned over. Now Man U counterattack. Anthony played through one-on-one, slots it. You're going to have to apologize to the £100 million fraud.
That guy, that little guy. 36th minute, Bruno thinks he scored, but it's ruled offside.
Sloppy play from Everton there.
Yeah, some sloppy play from Everton. United have looked a better side, limited Everton's impact on the game.
Then the same thing. It's all 3 goals were literally just turnovers and then counterattacks.
Yeah, exactly.
This was where Casemiro giveth, Casemiro taketh. Man U turn Everton over. Casemiro winning the ball, plays it up. Ronaldo, great run, great slot.
Great celebration. I loved it. The peace, calm.
Doing this.
Yeah, I like it. It's a little different from the Sioux.
Yeah. It's just saying it's easy out here.
Just hits different, if you know what I'm saying. Goes into halftime 2-1. Second half.
I thought Everton was better this half.
Everton was better this half for sure. They were pushing for the goal. United had moments where they looked dangerous on the counterattack.
Yeah.
Like we had previously mentioned, Marcus Rashford
Player
had
of the
a
month.
goal disallowed on the breakaway because it bounced up and hit him on the arm.
Player of the month, Marcus Rashford.
I thought this was a pretty tough call. I didn't think it was a handball.
What are you going to do? They call it against Man U. They don't call it against West Ham. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But no, Everton really had Man U pinned in this one. And Man U able to hold their shape for the most part, but so many chances for Everton. Onana had a few.
Oh, yeah.
Garner had a few. even at the end, they just had like that whole sequence of like corners, including I think it was Casemiro or was it Varane? I'm literally gonna mix them up now because they look like the same guy. Just whiffing on the ball, and Pickford just missed the chance to head it in. If Pickford would have connected with that, I might have lost my mind.
Everton was just whipping in like perfect ball after perfect ball, and you're thinking they have to score. Onana, like you were saying, he had some golden chances.
Yeah, even subbing on Calvert-Lewin and stuff. I know he just come back from injury, but you figured he might get on one.
Yeah.
I think he did get on one, but he had it like right at De Gea.
And Pickford almost scoring. That would have been absolutely madness.
Yes.
I really wanted Everton to come away with 1 point here, but United held strong.
This was one of the ones I got wrong. I got read like 2 wrong this week, and this was one of them because I went all out for Everton. I believed.
Have United just accepted that they're a counterattacking team?
Yeah, I mean, they're Tottenham light.
They're Tottenham light.
They don't have the efficiency Tottenham does, but they probably have, I would say they have a better defense at least. Mainly because they have a little slightly better chance of just packing in Casemiro so he can whiff on headers and it'll psych everyone out.
They definitely have like a higher technical ability. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's not saying much.
No.
Emerson Royale. The Royale with cheese.
Matt Doherty. Ryan Sessegnon. Oof.
So finishes 2-1. Good result for United. Not the best of performances. It's kind of how it's been going for them. They've been grinding them out. But Everton, I respect the effort. I love the performance. What are you gonna do? You didn't get it. But
yeah, I think it was tough. I mean, they really got punished on those 2 bad giveaways from Idrissa Gana Guy and Iwobi high up the pitch.
yes.
Still felt like they could have equalized, but wasn't their day. Moving on to the last match of the match week.
Disgusting.
Barely even deemed
Not even.
professional.
This was a championship match. This was a League One match.
This was Conference South. Conference North, I suppose it would be.
To the lineups: Dean Henderson, Steve Cook, Harry Toffolo, Serge Aurier, holy moly, Scott McKenna, Czech Kouyaté, Ryan Yates, Remo Freuler, Morgan Gibbs-White, Brennan Johnson, Manuel Dennis. For Villa, you scroll down for that one, I named all.
I was looking at the subs.
Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Mings, Young, Luis, McGinn, Ramsey, Buendia, Watkins, Phil, Coutinho. A couple of things about the lineups. I think, I hate to say it because he's a young guy and he has potential. I think Brennan Johnson can get dropped at this point for just a while. He can always come back in, but I think he got to have someone better on the bench.
Yeah,
Even if it's just any other position, you're packing the midfield, you're adding another defender. He's just not. It's not clicking. Get him on the bench. As far as Villa, why is Ashley Young like their 3rd best guy or 2nd best guy?
That is concerning.
I don't like that.
I hate that they refuse to play Danny Ings.
I don't know what I think Steven Gerrard, not only is he a bad tactician, I think he lost the locker room.
Oh, 100%.
With that Mings stuff going on at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. His man management skills are
no.
so awful. You can just tell by the team.
When you keep touting Phil Coutinho out there and he has 1 goal contribution in 20 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like asinine to not just permanently sit that guy.
Yeah, you pretty much exile Tyrone Mings only to have to bring him back into the team. Douglas Luiz, you didn't start him for a long time, and then Arsenal goes after him, and you say, oh, okay, yeah, we're not letting you go.
Yeah.
And now we'll play you.
Yeah.
Just terrible man management. Forrest, why is Serge Aurier starting over Nico Williams? Someone help me understand this. I don't understand.
Well, they're away from the back 3 now. Steve Cooper's, he got his extension. Now he's like, I'm going to try new stuff. I can mess around for a bit. Yeah. But yet Steve Cook and Scott McKenna are back there. It's truly incredible. The fact that you think about it, they brought in 20 guys and they didn't bring in 1 fucking center back. How does that happen?
I mean, they had that Diakate or Niakate got hurt like the first week.
I guess. Okay, he brought in one
but
guy.
Hey,
from
we don't know that
Berlin.
he was any good anyways. Yeah. They got stomped.
Oh, they brought in Willy Bolly.
Brought in washed Willy Bolly. It was never really any good in the first place.
Willy Bolly.
Yeah, this one was...
Well, Forrest had some energy early on, and that wore off very fast. But they did get a goal for when they did have the energy off a set piece. Manuel Dennis, who we called the start. I feel like these teams, like, they don't have to sack their manager in order to get, like, an interim boost. They can just leave their guy, but they should ask people like us to be like, if you were just the interim manager, who would you put in your lineup? And you'd just be like, yeah, I do this, this, and this. And if that manager did that, they'd probably get more results.
Yes. I will say, after this goal, Dennis was fucking awful.
No, he didn't do anything.
He was so bad. He didn't just not do anything. He actively made the team worse. Whenever he got on the ball, he'd just lose it. He'd try and dribble past 4 people
The
and
Watford
lose
special.
the ball.
The Watford special.
It was shocking. I wanted to sub him off right away. It's like, you did your thing. You scored the goal. Now, please go
Out
away.
of nothing, Ashley Young got a banger of a goal. People are really hating on Dean Henderson now. They're like, oh, he keeps conceding outside the box. Like, that's a good shot. And you know what? There's not much defense. There's not much defense by Nottingham Forest. I don't know what you want from Mr. Henderson.
That's true.
Sit there and act like it's Dean Henderson's fault. Unbelievable. Yeah. Villa very, very slow in build-up and just letting Forest set up. And I sent you this live when it was going on. I was like, what am I... Like, do you not know that all you have to do is move, like, more than 5 miles per hour with the ball, and you're bound to, like, catch Forest out? Not slowly work the ball around between Douglas Luiz and the center backs?
It was very slow, very sloppy, just awful passes from both sides.
Yeah.
It was physical.
Not even in a good way.
Not
even in a good way.
Just like sloppy fouls. Barely any rhythm to the game.
Yeah, halftime 1-1. Second half, Villa creating some half chances while limiting Forest counterattacks. I mean, that chance by John McGinn where he just goes for a header pretty much summed up the game. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, what was he thinking? Just hit the freaking volley, man. We know John McGinn can hit a volley.
He's in a funk because Steven Gerrard probably got in his head.
It was so
Aim.
bad.
I need you diving for a header out there.
Captain McGinn, aim.
Aim. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say about this game. Do you have anything else to say?
It was awful. It shouldn't be called professional. It was so hard to watch. Both sides looked horrendous. They should all be
exiled.
sacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was brutal. You know what that game was? That's like a late game, like late in the year kind of game where both teams are in the relegation zone and they're like, one team's got to win. They're just going to go for it. And then neither team goes for it and they're both relegated, like as a result. And it's like, oh, nice.
Yeah, Forest, I feel like they have no game plan whatsoever. They have no chemistry.
Who could have seen that coming?
Who could have seen that coming? Villa have no ideas in terms of like how to run any sort of offense.
When you have just redundant guys like Coutinho and Buendia, and I mean Buendia's better than Coutinho, so you might as well just sit Coutinho and play Buendia.
Yeah,
and it's like
you're talking about Brennan Johnson, Phil Coutinho, bro, stealing a living.
He should be released.
He should. He's so bad.
I'm sick of talking about this game. We're done. We're done. Finishes 1-1. We have nothing to say.
Bother me so much. Like
it could be so much better, and it's not like that many things have to change. That's what's annoying about it.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of like the Leicester. Like they have some decent players. Like there's no reason they should be this bad.
I like their players a lot more than Leicester. I think it's because we've seen what Dean Smith can do with them. Also, a lot of these guys kind of felt a little bit transition-y, and they haven't transitioned away from them yet, and that kind of frustrates me too about Villa.
Yeah.
I guess not. Rome wasn't built in a day, but at the same time, hurry up, Villa.
And it really bothers me that they're like struggling for any offense and they won't play freaking Danny Ings.
Ings and Watkins together works.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Villa fans and the staff hate them. It works.
Yeah.
Team of the week?
Team of the week.
Aim.
You do it so good.
Larice.
He's a scouser.
Larice, Cancelo, Wout Faes. I had to get him in there.
Wow.
I didn't know who to put for any of any of the center backs. I put Wout Faes and I put Dawson because he drew a pen and had some crunching
I like
tackles. Trippier, midfield, Mount, Bruno G, Caicedo, Etze, Martinelli. And I look through a bunch of people's team of the weeks and stuff like that. They have like Alan Shearer releases one, all these like advanced stats people release theirs. No one had this guy in there, and I thought he was vital to both goals. Won his team the game. Dom Solanke.
Big Dom.
Played great.
It's because no one watched that game.
That's fair. I had two guys.
would?
I had two guys from that game. I had Wout Faes and Dom Solanke. I like that game. There's something about the vitality. It just makes it not feel like the Premier League.
That's true.
All right, let's get to some previews.
All right, so we got the double match week.
Yep, we got a bunch to go through.
Little Friday
bunch
action.
to fire through. All right.
The B Derby, Brentford versus Brighton, kicking it off tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if Brentford's midfield is not getting taken to school like they did against Newcastle, but also Brighton like to hold the ball. And like I said about Brentford, they, for whatever reason right now, when they don't have possession, are just hoofing it upfield.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm just going to go with the simple 1-1 draw.
I'm going to say 2-1 Brighton.
Okay. Leicester Palace. What are you watching for?
Well, maybe Leicester can get that King Power energy that they had against Forest.
Is there any way it turns sour? Did you see the report today where people were paying for the like birthday announcement things? And they did
There's like forms of Rogers out.
Brenda Naut.
Brenda Naut, yeah.
And then it was like Brendan Zach or something like that.
Zach Brendan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I don't know. I feel like this is a good spot for Palace to build off of that win against Leeds and kind of get it rolling here.
Yeah.
I don't trust Leicester's defense, even though I just put Wout Faes in. I kind of like him, but I don't trust anyone else. And I sure as hell don't trust Danny Ward. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Palace victory.
I'm going to say 2-1 Palace.
All right. Fulham Bournemouth, Craven Cottage. Can they keep it rolling at the Cottage against Bournemouth? The team of threes, 3 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses for Bournemouth.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be. I think Fulham, I think this will kind of be like a determination of like how is the rest of the season going to go. If they're just going to kind of roll over, lose to Bournemouth, I could see things heading south fast.
Is Mitrovic hurt or is he just suspended or what?
I have no clue.
Let me
I
look
was
this
wondering
up.
that because, I wasn't sure if it was like a yellow card accumulation. Or
That would be
something.
wild if a
Maybe
striker
hurt.
like in 6 games got suspended.
I mean, Paulinho did.
Yeah, but he's a midfielder at least.
Yeah, but I feel like if Fulham can turn it around, get a win off this, maybe they can bounce back.
Yeah,
I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
Might not be able to play through the pain as much. Yeah, they might use him as like a sub maybe.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna go. I'll go with a draw, and I don't feel great about it. If I had to lean one way, I'd say a Fulham win, but I'm gonna say a draw. We'll call it a. Let's go 0-0.
Okay, 0-0. I was on the edge of 0-0 as well, but I'll say 1-1.
Wolves, Nottingham Forest at the Molineux.
This shouldn't be a game. Cancel it. Cancel it right now. No one watched this. It's crimes against humanity.
Sam like shielding a child's eyes away from this game. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. It's just Mateus running straight up and ripping a shot, and it goes 40 feet over the bar.
Oh, man.
It's Dennis taking a first touch, megging a guy, and then just losing the ball in a crowd of 4 people.
I guess the one thing about this match is like maybe it can be somewhat of a boost for the team that maybe wins,
Yeah.
because they're playing a team that sucks so bad they can.
I feel like, and I'm going to sound crazy saying this, I feel like this is a nice spot for Nottingham Forest. They've looked terrible on the road this year. That's why it worries me a ton.
Yeah.
But Wolves don't have a coach. They don't really have an identity. They're apparently looking at bringing in your guy Nuno Espirito Santo.
The return.
I mean, I don't know. Someone's going to win this game. I know one of them will win. There won't be a draw. I'd be shocked if there was a draw. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
I'm going to say,
after I just said that.
after you just pump up Forest, 2-1 Wolves, I'm going to say 0-0.
I can't get behind Forest on the road.
All right, next match, Spurs versus Everton.
I like Everton, but not to win this game.
They got beat by United, Tottenham light, hitting on the counterattack.
I just don't feel great about this game. I don't feel great about Everton to hold the ball and kind of pin Tottenham in. I feel good about them physically imposing themselves on Tottenham. Tottenham not a very strong team, but it feels like there's a couple guys, especially Anthony Gordon on Everton, where they like take some of these games like personally, and they just go right at guys and like pick fights and stuff. I kind of like that, but I don't know. This feels like a Kane brace or hat trick kind of game. I'm gonna go 2-0 Tottenham.
I feel like it'll be similar to all Tottenham games where they don't play well, but they either win or get a draw. So I'm going to say 2-1 Tottenham.
Villa Chelsea. The end of Stevie G or no? They have another midweek game that's pretty tough, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think so quite yet, but if it were up to me, he'd been sacked weeks ago. So
He wouldn't have made it through the summer for
No.
me. Villa Park. Chelsea always kind of struggle there for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Trap game.
But we haven't found out who Graham Potter's team is that gives them a tough time.
It's true.
Maybe some rotation in this, probably not as heavily rotated as last week. I'm going to go Chelsea 1-0.
I'm going to say Chelsea 3-1.
Who the hell is scoring for Villa?
Buendia.
Oh, okay. Can we play a real quick game of true false before we move on?
Sure.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. True or false? Emi Martinez has 2 clean sheets this year.
False.
That's true. Damn. True or false? Emi Martinez has more clean sheets than Villa's top scorer has goals.
True.
That is true. Villa's top scorer is 1. It's just a bunch of guys with 1. Unbelievable. Leeds Arsenal. Arsenal dominated Leeds last year at Elland Road. Or am I thinking? I was thinking of the United game, but Arsenal did beat Leeds, didn't they?
There was a game where Arsenal did dominate Leeds.
I think it was at Elland Road because the Emirates was like near the end of the year and they won they barely won.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Leeds gave the ball away right away.
Yeah, I think for Arsenal, the goal here is just to maintain consistency, stay solid at the back, don't give up any quick goals in the first half, especially. If you get through the first half scot-free, I think they'll be fine to get a win.
Okay. I like Leeds' ability to put the pressure on Arsenal's defense in this one. Arsenal for sure win. It's just a matter of, is it going to be they do it easily and it's like 2-0, or do they win a thriller like 3-2? I'll just say 3-2 to be fun.
I'm going to say 2-0.
Okay. I knew it'd be one way or the other. United Newcastle.
This is a spicy one.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Newcastle, very professional team to say the least.
Absolutely. I mean, they're
Able to go into Old Trafford.
one of the informed teams.
Yeah. And United, they have the results. They don't really have the performances, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What are you looking at in this one?
Yeah,
Because I think what I'm mainly looking at is Newcastle's midfield to kind of exploit Man U's midfield and their lack of ability to win the ball. And perhaps, I don't know, United don't have the slowest back line, so maybe that'll neutralize Newcastle's speed in attack, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll be curious to see how the United counterattack looks against Newcastle.
I'll tell you what. I think that this is either a 1-1 draw or a 2-1 Newcastle victory. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, however.
I'm going to say 2-2.
Okay. Southampton, West Ham, this could be the final day of my man Hans Hasenhüttl. Can he pull the rabbit out of the proverbial hat yet again?
Man, this would be a big one.
West Ham kind of starting to get it rolling.
Southampton, the opposite.
Yeah, that's where it feels counterintuitive to pick Southampton, but this feels like a game where Southampton would just win for no reason.
Yeah, that's when you want to pick them. But I just can't.
Yeah, West Ham playing pretty well. I'll be vanilla on this one. I'm going to say 1-1.
I would say 1-0 West Ham.
Okay. Liverpool City, anointed game of the year before the year. At this point, it doesn't appear to be, but it'll still be an entertaining game nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
At Anfield, I think the big question is going to be how Erling Haaland does against Liverpool. I think what I'm going to be watching is how Cancelo and Foden rip apart Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be interesting to see if Liverpool can get anything going in attack. I mean, it seems like they've scored some goals this season. They had a big win in the Champions League where they blew out Rangers. So,
well, they also blew up Bournemouth. So, congratulations on scoring like 90% of your goals in 2 games.
I don't know. Part of me wants to say like another 3-2.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like City's defense right now. It just feels really solid. I'm going to say 2-0 City. So they grind them out.
Okay.
The midweek games. Oh, yes. Right off the bat. 2 lovely, lovely games on Tuesday. Brighton, Nottingham Forest at the Amex. There'd be some rotation in these squads, which you think would favor Forest, but I don't think anything favors Forest these days.
I don't think
I'm going to go Brighton 2-0.
Say Brighton 1-0.
Palace Wolves, Selhurst Park. Will Palace not only beat Leicester but keep it rolling against Wolves? They're hitting these teams at the best possible time you could be playing them.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go with even though they'll be playing guys like Milivojevic, I'm going to go with a 2-0 Palace victory.
I'm going to say 3-0 Palace. I think they're going to be rolling. This is their time to get a run of form going.
That is their time, he says.
This is their time. The time is now.
Bournemouth, Southampton, Vitality. Is this, they sack Hans and that interim comes in and they're like, we can beat Bournemouth at home.
Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. This could be the one that gets Hans sacked, losing away to Bournemouth.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick against Bournemouth, but
I'm thinking 0-0.
I'm going to go with a 1-0 Southampton.
Okay.
Some like fluke Che Adams
They
goal.
got to win sometime, right?
Yeah. Brentford, Chelsea at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Some more rotation out of Chelsea, more than likely.
Yeah, Brentford, they just got to get something, turn it around, kind of stop the skid.
This feels like Brentford will play well in this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea, though.
I'm going to say 2-0 Chelsea.
Liverpool, West Ham. You're giving Chelsea's defense too much respect. Liverpool, West Ham at Anfield. This could be a good one. If Liverpool lose their match, West Ham beat Southampton.
Yeah.
I'd be feeling very uneasy if I was Liverpool going into this one, knowing West Ham are hot.
I think I see this one 2-2.
I'm going to say 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. Okay.
Newcastle, Everton.
I think you got to say Newcastle at home. I think I'd probably say 3-0.
I'm going to go 1-0 Newcastle.
Okay. Respect to Everton.
Yep.
United versus Spurs.
They've earned my respect. That's not a phrase I thought I would say about 5 months ago.
United versus Spurs, usually the most boring of the big 6 matchups.
I don't know. With Mourinho, it felt like there were a bunch of 6-1 games.
I suppose.
And it's like, what the hell happened? Yeah. No, a lot of times it feels like it's just very one-sided. I don't know why. But at Old Trafford, I think this is one where Tottenham squeak one out somehow. We'll go 2-1.
I'm going to say 2-1 United.
Oh, really?
Marcus Rashford finding the back of the net. No hand.
Fulham Villa. This might get postponed.
Oh, boy.
Fulham Villa. This game's going to suck.
This game probably will suck. Hopefully Mitrovic is back so he can dunk on Villa's defense. That'd be funny.
Yeah, but Mitrovic and Mings, both big guys.
That's true.
Going at it. I would still favor Fulham. Maybe a Harry Reid goal out of nowhere again, just like against Forest. No. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to favor Villa at any point in this game, but I'll just say Fulham 2-1.
I'll say Fulham 1-0.
All right, last one. Leicester Leeds. King Power. They might have to conjure the mystical powers of the music that plays against Leeds. They don't really have a choice, because otherwise,
I never sing the right song.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. I feel like this will be one where Leeds plays well and then gets like a red card or something. Gives away the game. 2-1.
I could see it. I'm gonna go with a 4-3 Leicester.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
All right. Dude, look what the next game is when we come back. Why is it always just a stinky Forest will forever be there to haunt us?
Always. Anyways, this has been another episode of the Premiership Perusal podcast. Back next Friday for some more fire. We got the double match week. Lots coming your way. Stay tuned.
Adios.